Hey, what's up? Today we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive into saving and loading. And let's see if I have my thing up here. Saving and loading, here we go. If you want to know where I get most of my information from, I read documentation. And this is basically me going over the saving and loading that they have within this documentation. It doesn't dive into it as much as I would like, so that's what I'm going to do here to show you guys how to do it. And hopefully I answer all your questions. I am going to go a little bit harder on this one because I know saving and loading is something that a lot of people want to know about. So let's get started. So the first thing is here. I got a little sticky note of things I want to cover here. I am going to be going over creating a button for the load and save. I'm going to have an interaction that saves, like a checkpoint. I'm going to have a time-based save, like an autosave process. I'm going to create that. And then I'm going to do a save and load menu. So let's start with the button for loading and saving. And as you see here, I already have things so that I can show you how to add variables into your save and load slots, because you do have to add them individually. So I'm taking damage every time I hit this box here, and the numbers go up every time I do that here. And what I want to happen is for me to be able to escape and then play and then have that damage and those numbers still there. So let's first start by actually creating the save, which is in here. I'm going to go to Blueprint class and I'm going to check for a save. And save game is a Blueprint class on its own. WB underscore save is what I'm going to call it. Double click on it. And I'm going to add any type of variable I want to add. In this case, I'm just going to go with the player position. So player position, I'm going to make it a transform. I could also go with location, but I'm just going to do this. Let's see. So now that I've done that, I want to go into my third person character, and here you can see my event any damage. I'm gonna use these variables later, but yeah, this is just how I'm taking damage. If you want the tutorials for this stuff, I believe I have some on at least damage and the number thing. I have like a coin setup, like how to add a currency system to your game. But let's first start by going up here, and on the initial begin play, we want to do some things. So we first want to check to see if a save slot is already available. There is a save slot, or yeah. Does save game exist? If there is a game to load already. If not, we're just going to create a save. But let me first promote this to a variable. And I'm going to call it save 1. You can have multiple slots for saving. But here I'm just going to do one slot. Let's do a branch here. Condition, I'm going to make this if true, then I want to create a save. Wait. Does same exist? If it does exist, then I want to load. So let me load the game. Load game from slot. And that slot's going to be this one. And then I want to just cast to save, WB save, widget blueprint save. If this is successful, then I want it to do whatever. You just add all the variables that you want to add in here. Wow, I cannot talk today. Let me promote this to a variable here, because I'm going to use this later. Let me get the transform. So I'm pulling it off of WB save because that is where the variable exists. So let me get a transform here. It's not a transform. What did I call it? Player position. It's right there. I'm going to get the player position, and then I'm going to, this is the load, so I'm going to just load this player position to the get actor or set actor. Shoot, set actor transform. Set actor transform. And this is going to be the target's going to be the third person character. So that's good so far. I'm going to break this off here, and I'm going to attach it here because I am going to be making a bunch of other variables later down the line. So now we want to actually create, oh, well, yeah, let me create a save here. So if it doesn't have a save file that already exists, I'm just going to create a save file as soon as you initialize for the first time, or as soon as you begin play for the first time. So create save game object, and that save game object is going to be your WB save. So off of here, we now need to get our, what is it called? I called it set player position. Yeah, that's what we called it. We need to set the player position. That's going to do this first. We're going to set all the different variables here. So this is going to be our first initial save. So we just need to get actor transform. And we're saving that into this new slot that we've created within the save game object. So attaching this here, save game to slot. It's going to be here. And the slot name is going to be this. The save one. Just makes it really easy to drag and drop. And then we are going to set this. If you drag it onto the execution pin, it automatically sets it. Drag that on there. So we're good with that. Next on to the saving and the loading for pressing the keybinds. So let me first get the keyboard here, and I'm just gonna make it an O. And then on pressed, want to check to see if the game exists. So it does the save game exist? And this way we can avoid errors. I'm just gonna drag on here because my slot for the save game here. I'm gonna add a branch. If I dragged off the red one, this would have auto connected. On true, I'm going to I need this because I need the player position off this. Setting player position because we're saving. This player position is get actor transform. Now let me move things out of the way. Attach this here. So we're saving this into the slot, and then this is going to go into save game 2 slot. Drag that here, drag this here. This is once again, it's the slot name for this. And then I'm just gonna print string so that we can make sure that the game is saved. It'll just tell me in the top corner that game saved. All right, so now let me create a keyboard binding. Just have to click this little keyboard and then press the letter you're gonna use. I'm gonna use L. On pressed, I'm gonna do all this stuff. I could actually just copy and paste this. Or I could press Control D and it duplicates it. So instead for here, since we already have, this is what's getting stored. So what we need to do is grab off of this, and we need to get that stored information. It's going to be the player position, get player position, and then we want to set the actor transform. Set the actor transform, and that should be good. I'm going to add a little print string at the end of here. Print string. I'm just going to call it game loaded. Game loaded. File save, play, and now I'm going to press O up here, and it's saved, so I should teleport back to that location once I press L. It should load me on the top here. All right, so that's that, and as you see, if I exit and I hit play again, I now load onto the top of that same place. The same thing if you exit the game entirely. It'll still load me back to that place because I've created a save game slot for it. Now, if I damage myself and add numbers, and I press O, and I press L, it will load me with the damage to my health and the numbers. Except for when I exit and I hit play, it doesn't keep any of that information stored. So it just goes back to normal. Because, I mean, it wasn't actually saving my digits. All it was doing was teleporting me to a location. It wasn't changing those digits at all. So now I need to save other types of variables. So let me go in here, and I'm going to add a variable for health. So health, I'm going to make this a float. Compile, save, because I don't do anything in here. All I do is create the variables. And now what I want to do is I want to go to my save slot that I'm now creating here. So when I hit the save button, I want it to set this health. So let me set health. And I'm just going to drag off of here. And for this health, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab here, and I'm going to grab this. So I want to make this health, the health that I currently have, which is 100, setting it to this new health, setting it to the widget blueprint health. So I'm going to compile and save that. And all I need to do now is on the loaded, let's see, this is save, this is load. So once I load up the game, I want to grab my target for the health. So let me get the health here. And up here, I'm going to set health. And I used the wrong thing. Grab this health. The one, did it multiple times now. Set health. So I'm using this health, and as you can see, the clear difference between this health and the other one is that it doesn't have a target on it. So on here you'll see there's a target, and that's where the WB save plugs into. This health comes from my third-person character that I created. And so what I'm doing here is I'm taking the data that I got from my widget blueprint save, and I'm plugging it in here. I might need to set the health for the WB save to begin with, but I'm gonna worry about it right now and see if it works. Let me hit play. Yeah, it set my health to nothing. So if I go to my WB save and I set the original health, I can set it to the health of my actual guy at the beginning of these things. But for now, I'm just going to do this as a quick fix. So I'm going to damage myself. Look at that, taking damage. I'm going to press O. And of course it's going to load with the health. I don't know why I did that. I'm going to hit play, and I start with my health damaged from the save game slot. So that's done. Next, we want to mess with the integers number thing I have in my top right corner. And I'm going to do numbers. I'm just going to call it numbers. Integer. Yeah. So let me go back to my third person character here. And now we're going to add a new variable type here. So on top of, let me start in order of kind of like how it goes. So I'm going to save the slot. So I have numbers in here already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my numbers and I'm going to set these. Grab this. Set numbers. And I'm going to plug it in here. So I'm going to set my numbers that I currently have to the numbers of my save slot when I save. Not going to mess with that. And now I'm just going to create another variable for this. Let me just do it under here. Get numbers. All I'm going to do here is I'm going to set this. Let me grab this numbers here. Set these numbers to the numbers that are in my save slot. Compile and save it. And I'm going to hit play. I'm going to hit some numbers, grab in a bunch. And I'm going to press O, which saves my game. And I'm not even going to load. I know it's going to do it automatically anyway. So let me hit play. And I start with my 20 numbers that I have. All right, so done with that, right? So next what we want to do is we want to get an interaction that saves. So what I'm going to do for this is I am going to create a, I'm just going to create a checkpoint of some sort. Let's see, how do we want to do this? I'm just going to go into my content drawer, look up a blueprint class, make it actor, WB, not a widget blueprint, BP underscore, I'm just going to call it checkpoint. And I'm probably just going to make it look like these other things on the side here, which all I did was add a collision box, box collision, and then I just took text and added it on there, text render. I'm just going to call it checkpoint. Drag this to the middle here. So this is going to be our checkpoint. This box is going to be tiny, if I remember correctly. Cool. Compile and save. And, well, let me place it in the world first. Just gonna put it over here, separate from everything else. I'm just gonna make this checkpoint kind of like an auto checkpoint. If you collide with it, it'll automatically just save. Instead of you had to press a button on it or anything. So let me go to checkpoint here, click on the collision box, And then on component begin overlap, what we want to do is I need to create a BPI for this, don't I? I'm going to do a BPI. All right. What I need to do first is create a blueprint interface. Blueprint interface. And I'm going to call it BPI underscore, I'm just going to call it player, because it's going to be on the player. And I'm going to call this save. So save is going to be our new BPI. So you go to my third person character, go to class settings, go to the implemented interface, and look up BPI player. BPI player. And now I've implemented this BPI to this thing. So what we need to do is we need to create the actual save thing for it. So if we go down here to some empty space, we're gonna click here and we're going to implement this event. And what we're going to implement is all the stuff that we did for saving. So I'm going to hit Control X here. I'm going to hit Control V. I'm going to drag it back a little bit, and I'm going to attach this here. And if you want to keep your, I'm just going to keep it. So I'm going to keep my thing here. So all I'm going to do is going to hit save. BPI player save, and the target self. Drag this up a bit. Cool. And then all you have to do for this checkpoint is for what it says other actor, that's going to be a save message. Save message. And what this is doing is it's messaging the other thing, the event that's in here. It's going to be messaging this to do all this stuff. So when you actually begin the game, I'm going to hit play, and when I collide with this box, you should see a game saved up in the top left corner. And just to double check, I'm going to hit my L, and it takes me back to the checkpoint. So that's another one down. What else we got on the list? Time-based save, save and load menu. I might save the time-based save for last. I'm gonna do save and load menu first. How do I want to do this? Well, I'm gonna need to start with a widget blueprint, I guess. So blueprint class, I'm gonna look up user widget. User widget, click on that, select it, and what should I call it? Widget blueprint, I'll call it menu. Sure. Menu. Get a canvas. I'm gonna do this real quick. Canvas panel. Gonna do an image. Just gonna make it big enough. Zero that out, making this 0.5 so it actually aligns to the center of it. No, I'm doing too much. Okay, cool. I'm gonna add, how do I want to do? I'm gonna add text. Let's add a text and call it menu at the top here. Let me change this to black so you can actually see it. Here, increase the size to like that, I guess. Menu. I'm not gonna try super hard on this. Do button here. Just gonna add this to the center. All right, Control D. Move this down here. It's probably lopsided. I don't care too much. Not the point of this video is to make this pretty. It's just meant to show you how to do saving and loading. So let me go back to text. I'm gonna make this save. The font's kind of small, 40. Sure. 40. I'll call this one load. Load. All right, so we have save and load. So next thing we want to do is we want to create a menu that pulls up this save and load. We want to create an input that pulls up this save and load menu. So let me go back to my third person character. And for me, I'm just going to make it a keyboard bind for M. Keyboard bind for M for menu. And then on pressed, I want to flip-flop here. Flip-flop. And what a flip-flop does is it just interchanges between the two different things every time you press the button. So if I press M once, it does the first thing. If you press M a second time, it does the second thing. So the first thing I want to do is create the widget. And that's going to be our WB menu. Do I need to promote this to a variable? I'm going to promote to a variable anyway, in just case we use it later. Score menu. So I have that, and then I'm just going to add this to a viewport. Add to viewport. So this creates the widget. This promotes it to a variable so I can use it later, which I'm actually gonna, I'm gonna have to do it later on so I can remove it from the parent. And then this adds it to the viewport so you can actually see the widget. All right, so let me get player controller. So I'm doing this so that one thing, so you can see the mouse. So let me set show mouse cursor. And we want that to be checked because we want to show the mouse cursor. And then I'm going to ignore the move input. Set ignore move input. Check. And then I want to set ignore look input, and I want to check that as well. This is the way I can't move around, and I can't move my camera around when I'm in this menu. So let me do this, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove, actually let me grab this, get this, and then I'm going to remove from parent, remove from parent. And what this essentially is doing is just removing the widget blueprint entirely. So we want to undo everything that we did. So we want to set show. I need to get the player controller first. Get player controller. And you want to set show mouse cursor. And you want to leave it, whoops. Okay, did not mean to open Visual Studio. Close. That was an accident. Then you want to enable input for the player controller. Actually, I don't need to do this. Sorry, I'm gonna reset the ignore move input and reset the ignore lock input. Reset ignore look input, not lock input. Okay, so that's that. So when I open this menu, and now we have these save slots that we can now use. So I can hit save and load, but that's not connected to anything yet, and I can close out of this and I can control my character again. So yes, I can open the menu and do all that stuff, but it doesn't do anything because it's not connected to anything. So let me go back to my widget blueprint where I have save. So now I can just, am I on the button right now? Yeah, button, and then I want to look for on clicked. Right in front of me. I don't know. I'm gonna do on pressed. On pressed. Do that, and I'm going to do save. And because it's a BPI already, I can message it to my player. And I just have to get player character. Player character. Compile and save. And I think that's all I need to do for that, because I already have all the save logic in there. Let me go back to this designer. I'm just gonna rename these buttons so I know what I'm looking at. So this is save, and this button is load. Save and load. So compile and save. And I did save, but I didn't add a BPI for load yet. So now I need to add a new BPI for this, for a new function, and this is going to be load, because I didn't need the load function earlier. So now we do. So exactly what we did for the last one, I'm just going to create the event. So I implement the event, and I'm going to, where's all my load stuff? Right here. So I'm gonna control X here, and I'm going to control V here, compile and save. And if you still want these buttons to load as well, I can just look at the function for it. BPI player. Compile and save that. And I think we're good for that. Oh, I didn't add it to my menu. So on clicked, sorry, I'm gonna do both on pressed. On pressed. Press load. I'm just gonna grab the load message, and I'm just going to duplicate this. And I think that should be it for that. So let me try playing, and now I can save. I'm going to click the slot, game saved, and let me exit out of the menu. Click M again, and then we're gonna load, and it loads me back to that position. And let's make sure when I exit this and I hit play, loads me back on top of this position here with my health and damage done. Health and numbers set up. So that's good. What's next? What, the timer, of course. How could I forget? Third person character. Let's go back up to the top here. I'm just going to add an event here. Let me drag up here. And I'm going to drag this out a little bit. And I'm going to make this a sequence. Sequence. Do that. And on the second part of the sequence, I'm going to add a timer by event. Timer by event. So timer by event. I'm going to make this however much time I want the autosave to be. You can make it like an hour, a minute, or whatever. I'm just going to make it 5 seconds so I don't have to stand here waiting for it forever. And I'm going to make the event called... autosave. Autosave. Autosave, and then I'm just going to drag off this, and it's just going to be a save. Save. I'm just going to grab the BPI one. And then I'm going to print string, because I want to specify that it's going to say autosave. So I know that it's autosaving. Autosave. Compile and save. And I'm going to play. And then every 5 seconds, it should say save and autosave. Yep, autosave and game saved. And then I'm over here. Oh, sorry. My bad. I forgot to loop it. Click looping. Then you compile and save it, and then we hit play. Cool. It auto-saved over there, so let me exit, hit play, and it starts me off at that location that I auto-saved in. Let me take some more damage and numbers here. Damage, numbers, auto-saved. Exit, hit play. And I start with my damage and numbers. And I'm pretty sure that's all I wanted to do. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you got something out of this, and I hope I answered your questions. I tried to cover as much as I could think of. So, having to do with saving. So, I hope you got something out of it. Sorry, I'm really failing at talking today. So, bye. See you in the next one.